I had a dream one night. It was creepy, but not terrifying. I was with my mother in a large room with several other relatives. I don't recall how we got there, but I remember the rest of the dream vividly. The thing was, all of the other relatives were dead. They were all women, cousins of my mom, sisters, aunts, etc. I told them that they were all dead and asked what they were doing here. They just smiled at me and continued speaking to my mother. I couldn't make out or remember what they were saying to her. My mom's sister and my aunt said that she, my mother, was going to stay. I started yelling, "I don't want to stay here, you are all dead." A lady that I didn't know said, No, you are not staying, and you can go back, but your mother will be joining us soon." I woke up and was disturbed, to say the least. I told my mom about the dream, but left out the part of her staying behind. It was less than 2 months later that my mother died of stomach cancer. I don't know if it was my own intuition, or actual spirits warning me, or just a coincidence. But I do know that I will miss my mother for the rest of my life. When I was very young, I used to have this recurring dream. I was home alone, and there was a stranger outside. The stranger was very bad and coming towards the door. He was wearing black leather gloves and reaching for the doorknob to get into the house. I was on the other side of the door and racing to lock the door before the stranger could enter the house. I never knew if I made it or not, because I always woke up before the dream could continue. It always ended with his hand in the black leather glove, almost reaching the knob, and me just about to lock the door. The dream drove me crazy, as I used to have it several times a week, until I was about 10 or so. I still would have it sometimes, but the dream became less frequent as I got older. Then, when I was in my early 20s, I was house sitting for my friend's family. I was in the kitchen, putting away the food I just ate for dinner, when I heard a car door. Immediately, I got that same feeling that I used to have in that recurring dream. It was a feeling of terror mixed with adrenaline and urgency. I thought quickly that this was silly, but I couldn't shake the feeling. I glanced at the front door. It was unlocked. I started towards it quickly to lock the door, even though there was no indication that there was any trouble at all. I kept seeing in my head that black leather gloved hand reaching for the knob, and it made me panic and rush faster to the door. I made it to the door, and I turned the lock. I was relieved, but I felt sort of silly at the same time. It wasn't more than a couple of seconds that the doorknob turned. Someone actually tried to get in. I was so scared that I just ran into the bedroom and stayed there. I didn't even peek out to see, because I was so afraid of what I might see. About 10 minutes later, I heard the car door again and figured that the person was gone. I believe that the dream saved me. If I didn't have the dream, I may not have even bothered locking the door that night. Or, even if I had, I would not have rushed to the door, and then I would have been too late. I sometimes wish I looked out the peephole or through a window, but I know that if I had, I would have seen a stranger wearing black leather gloves. I don't believe in the paranormal. I don't believe in the supernatural either. I don't believe in anything that even resembles superstition. But I did have what I'll call an interesting experience a few years ago. I had a dream. My dead relatives were in a car together. I was outside the car, but I could see them clearly. My grandparents, my uncle, and his wife were all in the car. All of them were dead for years. But my aunt was also there, and she was still alive. This aunt was my mom's sister. We are Armenian and living in America. My aunt, however, still lived in Armenia. I asked my mom about her, if she had heard from her lately. She said no, and asked me why. I was reluctant to tell her, but then I finally did tell my mom about the dream I had. She took it seriously, and she tried to call her. She couldn't reach her, and then, after a few days, we received a phone call from a neighbor in Armenia. My aunt was found dead in her house. My mom believes she was saying goodbye to me in that dream, but I am still not sure what to make of it.